All right, we are going to be doing angles. Yes, I am talking and it is now recording. All right, angles. And we're going to just quick review on what we have when we talk about an angle. And in your packet, you have a figure formed by two rays with a common endpoint. One thing I want you to be sure of is that you can identify an angle by its name. All right? The one way that you can identify is if there's a number, we can just call this angle 1. If the angle is by itself, you can call it angle C. You can name it by its vertex, its little point. Or if you notice the first two that are listed, you have angle DCE and ECD. You can name it if it has 3 points labeled. But if you notice on these two with the 3 letters, what do they have in common other than just the 3 letters? Yes, ma'am. The C is in the middle. And that is important because the C is the vertex. So you have to name an angle with the vertex letter in the middle. Make sense? Okay. Types of angles. We talked about these when we did triangles. You have your acute angle between 0 and 90. Your right angle that measures 90. And what's one of the ways we identify a right angle?
With the square.
The square that's in the corner. We also have the obtuse angle between 90 and 180. And then the straight angle that measures 180. We remember these? Quick, simple. Okay. What a lot of our focus on when we talk about angles isn't so much the acute, right, obtuse, and straight, but it's going to be 4 angle relationships that we're going to talk about. And these are the first 2. And this is why I had you skip the bell ringer today. So we have 2 angles with the sum of 90. What is 90 degrees? A right angle. So we have 2 angles that when they come together, they're going to form a right angle. And this is called complementary. Complementary angles. We have, that's going to be my right angle. And I could split it and say that angle 1 and angle 2 are complementary. If I add them together, they get to be 90 degrees. But then we also have 2 angles. If I add them together, I can get 180 degrees. What's 180 degrees? The straight angle. So we would have a straight angle that's shown with a half circle. And if I were to split it, angle 3 and angle 4 would be considered supplementary. So complementary and supplementary are 2 of the relationships we're going to focus in on. Kind of help keep it in order. If you're thinking complementary, think of a corner. Complementary angles create corners. What do we know about corners? They're 90 degrees. Supplementary are straight. And what do we know about the straight angle? 180 degrees. So we can keep 2 similar words to help us there. Corners and straight, complementary, supplementary. They've got the same front letter, so it should maybe help. We good? All right. Let's look at them. And a lot of times when we do these, drawing the pictures out will help. Number one, if angle A, and that's the sign for angle, where we write a lot of symbols. If angle A and angle B are supplementary, and the measure of angle A is 37, what is the measure of angle B? What does the word supplementary reference us back to? Yes, sir. Yes, Boone. He's a mime today. Yes, a straight angle. How much is a straight angle? He is a mime. All right. Supplementary, we need to think of 180 degrees. So how would you find the missing angle? Subtract it. There you go. If you want to think of it in terms of a picture, that's my straight line. And one of them, if I split it, this is 37 degrees, and we're trying to find what B is. 37 plus B has to give you 180. Or as was said, subtract it. 180 minus 37. How much? 143 degrees. So we could say that the measure of angle B is equal to 143 degrees. That's what that M is. It stands for measure. All right, number two. Find the complement to angle A. What is complement? That's 90 degrees. And complements create those corners, create those 90-degree angles. And what do we know angle A is? Okay, so we have a 37 degree, and we're trying to find the complement. Kaylee?
53.
How'd you get 53 degrees?
I subtracted 37 from 90.
Good. 90 minus 37, 53. So the measure, and we named it angle C, is equal to 53 degrees. So supplementary, complementary. Good? A little bit? You can shake your head. Nobody will see you. I promise. All right. These angles. This is another one we're going to be messing with. We have the angles that share a vertex. What's a vertex? That vertex is the point. So they share a vertex and a side. And these are known to be adjacent. It simply means the angles are side by side. They share a side, but have no interior points in common. They're just next to each other, like your desks are next to each other. 1 and 2 are adjacent. What's another pair of adjacent angles? Carson? 3 and 4 are adjacent. It already gave us 1 and 2 are adjacent. Do we have any other adjacent ones? Carmen? 2 and 3 are adjacent. 1 and 4, very good. What does adjacent mean? They're just side by side. They share a side, they share a vertex, they're next to each other. Okay? And these, same picture, but we're looking at these 4 angles that are formed by 2 intersecting lines. What does intersecting mean? Perpendicular is type of intersecting, but in general, what does it mean to intersect? Yeah, they cross each other. And when these cross each other, we'll highlight them, make them look pretty. When the pink line intersects this bluish one, 4 angles are formed. Okay? And the angles opposite each other, like 1 and 3, are known as vertical angles. I should not write in a highlighter. Vertical angles. So 1 and 3 are vertical. The important thing that you have to know for this is that they have equal measure. So we know that the measure of angle 1 is equal to the measure of angle 3. What else do we know from this picture? Boone? You got to start talking, kiddo. 4 and 2 are vertical, which means 4 and 2 do what? They're equal to each other. So the measure of angle 2 is equal to the measure of angle 4. Vertical angles. What is supplementary angles? What do we need to keep in mind with supplementary?
They're straight.
Straight line, what number? 180. Complementary angles.
Corner 90.
Corner, 90 degrees. Adjacent angles.
Adjacent means they share.
Side by side, they share one side and a vertex. Vertical angles.
They're across from each other.
They're across from each other, and even more, they are,
Equal.
they're equal.
Equal measure.
Equal measure. All right. We're going to find the measures of these angles. And we are only given one piece of information. We are told that angle 4, the measure of angle 4 is 128 degrees. 128 degrees for angle 4. We have to figure out what angles 1, 2, and 3 are based on what we have learned at this point. Neil, give me the measure of one of these angles, any of them.
Number 2 is 128.
Okay. All right. What relationship do they have? They're not adjacent because these are across from each other. They're vertical. They're opposite each other, which means they are the same size. All right. How are we going to figure out what 1 and 3 are? Keep in mind how these 4 angles are even formed.
Add 128 to the other 128 and then subtract them from 360.
Oh, yeah. That'd be a good idea.
Keep going with that. Because you'd have to do one more step if you're going to do that.
Divide by 2.
He's using the idea of a whole circle. And he is accurate on that. If I fill this in right here, we see the circle? How many degrees are in a circle? 360. So Nick has said, combine the 128s. How much does that give you? 256. If we remove the 256 from the full circle, you get 104. Okay, then that 104 has to be divided between the two remaining angles, and that gives you
52.
52?
Yes.
52 degrees. And he would be 100% correct. Does anybody see a different relationship here that could have gotten us the 52? Ben? 180 minus 128. The half circle. The supplementary angles. If we look at one of those lines right there, we could have used the idea of supplementary. But I like the use of that circle. It is a great fallback. All right. Find me these. Angles 5, 6, 7, and 8. And I'm going to pause our lovely video so you can try it. All right, let's check the answers on the quick check. You were told that angle 8 is 72 degrees. What'd you come up with for 5, 6, and 7? Marley.
So 6 is 72 degrees because it's the same day. And then 72 plus 72 is 144 minus 360 is 216 divided by 2 is 108. So 108 is 5 and 7.
Very good. So 108 and 72 are our two numbers to complete it. So we have vertical angles. You can use the idea of a circle in the 360 degrees. Did anybody use supplementary angles and subtract from 180? Awesome. Great job. Okay, we are not going to do the next two slides on that handout. All right, you're more than happy to X them out or just leave them alone. But I want you to get the handout that is separate. The other two we're going to do on Monday, so do not lose this packet. Okay? And we're going to work on these. I'm going to let you pair up. I'm going to upload the video for those at home who are quarantined and stuck there. And if you just need some humor and need to go listen to yourselves later, if you spoke, you're welcome to watch it again. You need some humor. All right. You're working on these two pages with those around you if you so desire. Oh, one quick thing, and I'm recording this for the kids at home just because they're, often don't pay attention to things. You do have your 2-edge elastics that close out 10 o'clock tonight. Most of everybody in here is done with those. That is wonderful, and the grades were fabulous. The quizzes, it does close at 10 o'clock tonight, but I'm adding a maze on Canvas. The due date is not until, I think, Tuesday. All right? But rather than leaving work hanging over you, getting it done, it'll also help you review for the quiz you have Tuesday. The quiz Tuesday will be over angles, triangles, and those similar shapes. But I will get you a review out Monday to help you practice for that too, okay? We good? So we're not going to forget our assignments. Awesome.